Good morning, Little Masters, and welcome back to today's Tolkien Times. I'm the Man of the West, also from the Prancing Pony podcast. It's time for a holiday tradition, a very special week of today's Tolkien Times, as I celebrate the season by spending these 6 days in Letters from Father Christmas. Just like I did in 2023, I plan on spending 1 week during the winter holidays each year sharing some of these often hilarious, always heartwarming stories that Professor Tolkien wrote to his children. From his first letter to his eldest son, John, in 1920, all the way through to the last letter to his youngest child, daughter Priscilla, in 1943. Now, last year we started, where else, at the very beginning, and made it through 1927. So this holiday season, we're starting with the letter that Tolkien wrote to his children, as Father Christmas, of course, dated December 20th, 1928, though we will see in a little bit that it doesn't get sent on this date. At this point in his life, he's approaching his 37th birthday. His oldest son, John, just turned 11. Michael recently turned 8, Christopher just turned 4, and Edith was pregnant with Priscilla, who would be born the following June. A busy young father who's still almost a decade away from publishing The Hobbit. He writes, "Another Christmas and I am another year older, and so are you. I feel quite well all the same," very nice of Michael to ask, "and not quite so shaky. But that is because we have got all the lighting and heating right again after the cold, dark year we had in 1927. You remember about it. And I expect you remember whose fault it was? What do you think the poor dear old bear has been and done this time? Nothing as bad as letting off all the lights. Only fell from top to bottom of the main stairs on Thursday." "Who'd left the soap on the stairs? Not me." We were beginning to get the first lot of parcels down out of the storerooms into the hall. Polar Bear would insist on taking an enormous pile on his head, as well as lots in his arms. Bang, rumble, clatter, crash. Awful moanings and growlings. I ran out onto the landing and saw he had fallen from top to bottom onto his nose, leaving a trail of balls, bundles, parcels, and things all the way down, and he had fallen on top of some and smashed them. I hope you got none of these by accident. I have drawn you a picture of it all. Polar Bear was rather grumpy at my drawing it. "Of course, naturally." He says my Christmas pictures always make fun of him, and that one year he will send one drawn by himself of me being idiotic. But of course I never am, and he can't draw well enough. "Yes, I can. I drew the flag at the end." He joggled my arm and spoilt the little picture at the bottom of the moon laughing, and Polar Bear shaking his fist at it. When he had picked himself up, he ran out of doors and wouldn't help clear up because I sat on the stairs and laughed as soon as I found there was not much damage done. That's why the moon smiled, but the part showing Polar Bear angry was cut off because he smudged it. But anyway, I thought you would like a picture of the inside of my new big house for a change. The chief hall is under the largest dome where we pile the presents usually ready to load on the sleighs at the doors. Polar Bear and I built it nearly all ourselves and laid all the blue and mauve tiles. The banisters and roof are not quite straight. "Not my fault. Father Christmas did the banisters." But it doesn't really matter. I painted the pictures on the walls of the trees and stars and suns and moons. Then I said to Polar Bear, I shall leave the frieze, Frieze, to you. He said, "I should have thought there was enough frieze outside, and your colors inside all purpley, grayy, bluey, pale greeny are cold enough too." I said, "Don't be a silly bear. Do your best." There's a good old Polar. And what a result. Icicles all round the hall to make a frieze. Freeze. He can't spell very well. And fearful bright color to make a warm frieze. Well, my dears, I hope you will like the things I am bringing. Nearly all you asked for and lots of other little things you didn't and which I thought of at the last minute. I hope you will share the railway things and farm and animals often, and not think they are absolutely only for the one whose stocking they were in. Take care of them, for they are some of my very best things. Love to Chris, love to Michael, love to John, who must be getting very big as he doesn't write to me anymore, so I simply had to guess paints. I hope they were all right. Polar Bear chose them. He says he knows what John likes because John likes bears. Your loving Father Christmas. And my love, Polar Bear. I love these letters. There's a wonderful illustration of North Polar Bear just sprawled out face down at the bottom of the stairs with packages scattered top to bottom and a surprised, laughing Father Christmas at the top. The colorful illustration is surrounded by borders with doodles of the sun, moon, and stars and the northern lights at the bottom. But also part of this letter is a separate slip of paper with an addendum dated 6 days after the original letter on Boxing Day, December 26th. I am frightfully sorry. I gave this to the polar bear to post, and he forgot all about it. We found it on the hall table today. But you must forgive him. He has worked very hard for me and is dreadfully tired. We have had a busy Christmas. Very windy here. It blew several sleighs over before they could start. Love again, Father Christmas. And there's a hilarious note from North Polar Bear on the envelope, clearly written after Tolkien discovered the letter didn't get posted. It reads, "Not my fault Father Christmas forgot to send this, and he could not find any stamps." I absolutely adore how Tolkien has created the perfect scapegoat in North Polar Bear for his own quite understandable forgetfulness in posting the letter. Now, the letter itself, as with previous letters, is filled with flourishes and little illustrations and touches of color, blue for North Polar Bear's writing in the margins, including the flag that NPB apparently drew and a little sprig of holly beneath Father Christmas's signature. And doing these episodes once again reminds me I've got a lot of work to do to be the kind of father Tolkien was. For now, though, folks, that wraps it up for this first day in the Letters from Father Christmas. Please join me again tomorrow as we move forward to December 1929. Learn how you can support the TTT by visiting patreon.com/Tolkien Times. You can become part of my content council, join me for monthly hangout, get a full episode bonus every week. And if you're watching this on YouTube, take a moment to like and subscribe. It really does help. And please follow or subscribe in your podcast apps. Follow @Tolkien Times on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Finally, as Faramir says, go with the goodwill of all good men.